Jake Ciely with me now. He's a senior fantasy football writer at The Athletic and host of the All In Football podcast. Jake, the time has come where every fantasy manager hopes to be at the beginning of the season. Championship week. Now, I play in one league. I lost in the championship my first season, third place last season. This year, I went out in the first round, so I don't have anything on the line. But there's a lot on the line for so many managers around the country right now. So we need to know, are there any players out there that can be picked up this week to help win that chip?
You know, surprisingly, you can look at two with the Atlanta Falcons, both the running back rookie, actually both of them are rookies, is Tyler Algier, the rookie running back, who has really taken over that backfield the last 2 weeks. He's a top 10 running back just on what he performed this recently. And Drake London, it took the change of Desmond Ridder, another rookie, stepping in at quarterback. But Drake London's been his go-to, very similar to what we see from Taylor Heineke, looking for Terry McLaurin every chance he gets. It's Drake London time. So you can go to the Atlanta Falcons. You can find some spots to fill in there.
I love Drake London out of USC, first wide receiver off the board in this past year's draft. Sort of had that hot start and then cooled off, and looks like he's back now. So keep an eye on that, managers. All right, Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa struggled this past week against the Packers, 3 interceptions. Then he ends up in concussion protocol. He plays with some high-powered weapons in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but it's really hard to trust him. I know he was on my team this year. If he's on your roster and you're unsure this week, where do managers turn?
I think you could go back out to San Francisco. We talked about Brock Purdy a few weeks ago, and the talk about him was Mr. Irrelevant, and everybody loved to talk about that. But playing for the 49ers with the weapons around him is a good matchup for him this week. I think you could turn to him. And if not, and he's already taken, you could go back to Mike White's returning for the quarterback for the Jets, and that team looked much better when he was under center. So those are two options out there. And then, hey, Russell Wilson, Nathaniel Hackett got fired, so maybe this is what gets Russell Wilson going this year, because things have not gone right since the beginning of the year with the Denver Broncos.
Jake, I'm just going to say, if Russ starts cooking in Week 17 of this season, you deserve to win all your leagues. I don't think it's going to happen, but he's an option, I guess. I definitely prefer Mike White in the Jets situation. All right, anyone playing in a championship game going to be looking at their lineup really closely this week. So what traps or pitfalls should they avoid, if any?
Yeah, I would look at some of these split backfields that have been back and forth, like the Carolina Panthers with Chuba Hubbard, Deonta Foreman, trying to guess every single week and sitting somebody in a tough matchup just to try and go off what happened last week. Don't chase your own tail. And then if you look at another situation with the Rams, you know, it's been a lot of fun to see Baker Mayfield back and relevant with that team, but don't go chasing their wide receivers and don't go chasing Tyler Higbee at tight end, because it's a extremely tough matchup, and I don't think the fun that we've seen so far for Baker Mayfield is going to be something you want to rely on in your championship game.
All right, New Year's Day game between the Commanders and Browns. Let's get into that. Who do you like in this in your lineup for this game, Jake, and what do you think managers should avoid?
Oh, I think the passing games on both sides are a little bit of trouble here. The Cleveland Browns have been playing much better in the second half of the season. I don't think you can bench Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson if you got here with them, but maybe you have some depth. I'd be worried about the Cleveland Browns receivers. Deshaun Watson still hasn't shaken off that rust, and he's going against this defense, which has been strong all year long. But on the running side of things, I say Brian Robinson, whether or not we get the word on Antonio Gibson's health, Brian Robinson's been getting 20 carries a lot of these weeks, and this is one of the best matchups you could possibly find for Brian Robinson. He should be a staple in your lineup this week.